Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about The Haunting of Camp Winter Falcon by Jonathan Raab. This is from Muzzleland Press. I don't know how well you can see that. There you go. I kind of dig that cover. I'm just going to read the first little paragraph of the back cover copy. Suffering from post-traumatic stress, depression, substance abuse issues, and more, a small group of military veterans arrive at Camp Winter Falcon's experimental rehabilitation program looking for a second chance. That's your your nutshell, your setup. This is where we're starting, sort of, because we have a cold open, as I like to call it. That's what they call it in the movies and TV shows. And we start with some military people up on a roof observing Camp Winter Falcon, and some strange, spooky stuff happens. And then we go to our introduction to the Class 001 of this rehabilitation program at Camp Winter Falcon. Our main character is Ray Parnell, and he's a veteran. His life has fallen apart since he's gotten out of the service. He can't keep a job. He's drinking too much, and we meet some of the other people that he's going to be in this program with. And there's a sort of a drill instructor, but since they're not actually active military, it's not as aggressive, for lack of a better word. But they do PE, and they're scheduled for things. They're supposed to be there. They don't want to wash out. And then there's doctors, assistants, scientists there. And spooky things start to happen. It starts to seem to Ray as if maybe this isn't just a straightforward detox, rehabilitation, therapeutic place. And some of his fellow class of 001 members feel the same. I don't want to give away too much of the plot because, frankly, everybody should read this book. Everybody should read Jonathan Raab. I've really, really enjoyed everything that I've read from him so far. Short stories, couple novels, some novellas. And the concept, one of the things that he writes is called high strange. And I'm going to try to define it, but he does a better job. I got to interview Jonathan, and so I'll hopefully have the link to that at the end of the video, so you can check that out and see how he defines high strange, because I may get it wrong, but basically my understanding is high strange is this sort of amalgamation of UFOs, alien abduction, lost time, ghosts, angels, demons, government conspiracies, the Illuminati. Basically, all of the weird things connected in some way. And that's at the heart of this book. We follow Ray and his fellow patients as they're going through. There's 3 evolutions. So we start with evolution number 1, and we see some of their talk therapy, small group therapy sessions, see some of the stuff they have to do, and it's just very weird. And Jonathan Raab, and I'm never sure how to pronounce his name, even though I have interviewed the gentleman, but Jonathan Raab can write really creepy scenes. He's got a few things that are almost found footage, and he makes it work. You might think that reading someone writing what you're seeing on a TV screen, if that makes sense, wouldn't necessarily work, but it does with Jonathan Raab. And there is quite a bit, not too much, but there are quite a few times when the patients are being shown videos. And he's describing these videos, and it's creepy. If you've seen The Ring or Ringu, and you're like me, watching the video that's going to kill you in 7 days is creepy. To me, that's the creepiest part of The Ring, is just this weird, disjointed, black and white, odd images. And that's how the feeling, I would get the same feeling reading some of these scenes in The Haunting of Camp Winter Falcon by Jonathan Raab. And I love that. I love that his writing can creep me out. And as the story progresses, he has this thing where he starts building up the tension. Weird things start happening. It gets weirder and weirder, and the tension is growing and growing. And then there's an abrupt end to the chapter, and the very next chapter doesn't pick up from where we left off. I mentioned part of the whole high strange thing is the lost time phenomenon, and there's a bit of that in this book, because these weird, super weird things will happen, and then all of a sudden Ray Parnell is having breakfast or doing whatever, going to a therapy session. And I like that. I like the structure of this story. It's pretty straightforward in a linear manner, but it has these moments of lost time that just add to the creep factor. I like Jonathan Raab's characters. I like the character of Ray Parnell. You know, he's basically a broken man. He served his country, and then he came home and has fallen apart. And the other characters, the other patients, have also fallen apart in different ways. And some of them come together. Ray sort of, this little group sort of forms around Ray. There's Mike, a former officer, and there's Tara, I believe it is, who was just an army grunt, if I'm not mistaken, and Stacy and Adams. It's been a little while since I finished the book, so hopefully I have the names correct. Not that they're that important at the moment, but they sort of form this group, and they'll get together between sessions and sort of whisper and consult. And the boot camp instructor, I can't think of the proper term, and I was in the military, but because it's not boot camp, so it's not the proper term, but you know what I'm saying. He's doing his job. Sometimes maybe he's questioning what's going on. Maybe he's not. And the doctor, there's just, these conversations are weird. The questions that the doctor asks can be strange. There's so much weirdness and creepiness and oddness packed into this book, and it all works. It's not overloaded. I mean, I like conspiracy theories. I don't necessarily believe, I'm not, for lack of a better way to put it, I'm not a conspiracy theory nut. I just find them interesting. I think some are possibly true. I think a lot are ridiculous. But and frankly, the more ridiculous they are, the more interesting they are. As long as one can think for themselves and figure out why some of these things just don't make any actual sense. But anyway, but I like that kind of stuff, and I like X-Files kind of stuff with alien abductions and unidentified objects, and you throw in mysterious ghosts, and there's a bit of cosmic horror in here, and it's just I'm trying to convey the essence of the book without giving anything away, because I do highly recommend this. I believe, see, now I can't remember, because again, it's been a little while. I don't remember. I think I only gave it a 4 out of 5. I think I was rounding down. It's definitely at least a 4.5. But I think I was rounding down, because I have to save 5s for the best of the best. Do I? I mean, if I really enjoyed the book this much, should I give it a 5? Maybe that'll be my question at the end of the video. There's a little preview for the end of the video. I do know, I think I've mentioned this before, I know people that have sort of given up on like the stars, but since I'm posting these on Goodreads, at least for the author's sake, I want to put down a star rating, which is why I passed that along to you. But yeah, it's really, really creepy and interesting. It's well written, and one of his strengths, Jonathan Raab's strengths, I think, is that he can write these very weird, very creepy things in a very clean manner. It doesn't get confusing. He's not trying to like make the sentences themselves weird, if that makes sense. He's not playing with sentence structure. He's not doing that. He's just able to describe these things in such a clear way that they make your skin crawl. With interesting characters I think you're going to care about. I did. And there are twists and turns, and as I said, just very, very bizarre stuff. Let me see, what can I tell you? One of the first things that the patients do when they get set up, when they're getting set up in Camp Winter Falcon, is they each go to a cubicle with a computer, and they're told to fill out this sort of entry survey so that the therapies and everything can be tailored to them. And so they put some headphones on, and even he just describes the headphones have weird static and possibly voices that you can't quite hear saying weird things. Maybe, you can't tell, or, well, the characters can't tell. I'm just reading the book. But anyway, so Ray Parnell sitting down, he's got his headphones on, and the questions start relatively normal. When you were overseas, did this ever happen? Answer yes or no. Did you blah, 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 whatever. Normal questions, yes or no answers. Some of them give you the whole, on a scale of 1 to 3, with 1 being I agree completely, 2 is I don't agree one way or the other, and 3 is I completely disagree, that kind of thing. There's some of those kinds of questions in there, but the questions start getting weirder and weirder, very, very specific, and there's even a point where, and this is on just old computer screen, just green letters flashing, and there's a point where Ray is thinking about one of the questions, and on the screen it says, why are you taking so long? And it's just creepy. It's just weird. And that's just a taste. Things like this, and even worse, happen. The videos they're shown, incredibly creepy. And then as they investigate creepiness, and yet the creepiness cuts off at the end of the chapter, and all of a sudden, Ray is in a therapy session. Yeah, I'm highly, highly recommend that you check out The Haunting of Camp Winter Falcon by Jonathan Raab from Muzzleland Press. I recommend you check out Jonathan Raab. Rob? How have I been saying it? See, I can't even remember. Jonathan Raab. Check out his other work. I have reviewed some of it here. And hopefully there'll be another little thing you can click on for one of my reviews of his other books. I know this didn't tell you that much as far as the story and everything, but I think the important points were hit. Incredibly creepy, well written, interesting characters. If you have any interest at all in any of the high strange kind of things that I mentioned, and hopefully I'm pretty close to what that means, I can't recommend this highly enough for you folks. So, that is The Haunting of Camp Winter Falcon by Jonathan Raab. That's the way I'm going to pronounce it, from Muzzleland Press. And my question for this video is 5 stars for a book. Should that rating be reserved for, just to pick some classics, should it be reserved for War and Peace, The Stand, 1984, Something Wicked This Way Comes? Is that what's Bradbury's best? Basically, should 5 stars be reserved for the absolute best of the best masterworks of the written word? Or should it be my own personal feelings? This, I'm not going to compare, let's say, this book to Crime and Punishment. I can't say War and Peace because I've never read it, but I've read Crime and Punishment. They're two completely different animals. I enjoyed this book more. But Crime and Punishment is a masterwork of fiction, in my opinion. But this book was everything I was looking for. At the time that I picked this up, this was what I was in the mood for. Jonathan Raab delivered. So can I give a 5-star rating to? I think I did it with one of Judith Sonnet's books. I can't remember now. I think Gobbler. I may have given 5 because I said it was the perfect book of its kind. I don't recall. So what are your thoughts on that? How do you rate, if you even bother to rate? How do you rate your books? I always say I go by, since I'm doing it on Goodreads, I go by what their stars say, which is, I can't remember what 1 star is, because if a book, it's like I didn't like it, something like that. And if I don't like a book, I'm not going to finish it, which means I'm not going to rate it or review it. 2 stars is, it was okay. And there are some books that I have finished and reviewed because they were okay. They weren't horrible. And I reviewed them because I try to review stuff that I like and get it out there and get people to hopefully pick it up and read it. But I will occasionally do the 2-star review as a sort of warning to people. The 2 that pop into my head are the Reanimator novelization and the Fright Night Origins. Is that what it's called? That Tom Holland wrote. That's it's not really a novelization of Fright Night. It's a retelling of that movie. Um, but I thought those might be books that people would be interested in and would also, like me, be disappointed in. So I wanted to sort of warn people. I am going to pick up the next Fright Night book to see if it's better, where the story goes. But anyway, so yeah, 2 stars is it was okay. 3 stars is I liked it. 4 stars is I really liked it. And 5 stars is it was amazing. So, I don't know. There are books, and I've mentioned this in a number of recent reviews. There are books that I thought were amazing, but aren't to the level of certain great literary works, for lack of a better way to put it. Should I take that into consideration when I'm reviewing, when I'm rating a book? That's basically the question, and how do you handle it, if you even bother? I mean, I could do this pass-fail as far as the video reviews go. Again, on Goodreads, I do want to give it a rating to help the authors and the algorithm and all that stuff. Let me know your thoughts on just the rating system. I'd rather it was at least 10, out of 10 stars, so I could go 9.5. I mean, that's so close to, or even 9. 9.5 would be even better. The closer I can get to 10 without making it that pinnacle. But unfortunately, it's only a 5-star system. Let me know all your thoughts about this stuff in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I've got for you. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.